Mesdames, Messieurs, pendant près de 10 ans, il a été la voix du Forum. C'est lui qui a fait de l'interprétation des hymnes nationaux l'un des moments forts d'une partie de hockey au Forum. For many years, he was recognized as the official singer of the Canadian national anthem. Today, for the last day at the Forum, let's hear him one more time. Pour l'interprétation du Haut-Canada, une dernière fois, Roger Doucet.
It was said that the first time players from the Soviet Union heard Roger Doucet sing their national anthem, it brought a tear to the eye. And there is the odd moist eye around this building tonight. The first time he sang the national anthem in this building was October of 1970, the legendary Roger Doucet. And legendary is a word that will be used many times tonight, including again now, as they introduce three legends to drop the puck and get this final game at the Forum underway.
Lors d'une grandiose cérémonie qui aura lieu immédiatement après le match, accueillons pour la dernière mise au jeu d'honneur trois des plus grandes légendes de notre temps. Il a été le joueur par excellence des années 70 chez le Canadien et l'idole de toute une génération. Through grace and speed, he powered his team to 6 Stanley Cups in the 70s. Le numéro 10, number 10, Guy Lafleur. Pendant près de 2 décennies, il a été le grand leader du Canadien et il a donné au hockey ses grandes lettres de noblesse. He has always been recognized as the captain of all captains, one of the best of all times. Vainqueur de 10 Coupes Stanley à titre de joueur et 7 à titre d'administrateur. Le numéro 4, number 4, Jean Béliveau. celui que plusieurs considèrent comme le plus grand joueur de l'histoire du Canadien. 36 ans après sa retraite, il détient toujours le record pour le plus grand nombre de buts, 544. He is the Canadiens' greatest goal scorer and is considered by many as the best player ever in the offensive zone. Son nom restera toujours gravé en lettres d'or aux côtés du mot Forum. Le numéro 9, number 9, Maurice Rocket Richard. Nous demandons maintenant aux représentants des deux équipes en présence, Guy Carbonneau et le capitaine Pierre Turgeon, s'approcher au centre pour la mise au jeu protocolaire du dernier match de l'histoire du Forum de Montréal. Guy Carbonneau and Pierre Turgeon will now proceed to the ceremonial face-off of the final game ever to be played at the Montreal Forum.
This is the 2,329th and final regular season game for the Montreal Canadiens in this building. Over 90 million people have attended events here, and in each of those people is a memory, a different memory albeit, but that is where the Forum will always stand, as long as there are memories in which to recall it. And the two guys in the lines, not exactly strangers to games, big games, here in this building. Montreal in the traditional red, white, and blue to close out this chapter of their history in this building. Dallas in white. Here's Patrice Brisebois, gets it over to Popovic. And he will start back out. Brisebois steps up, has Koivu out there with him. Savage going towards the front of the net. Savage down in the corner. Popovic moving up after him. And the puck hops away from him. Koivu will skate back to pick it up. Classy move on the part of Ken Hitchcock, starting Montreal veterans and Benoit Hogue. And that's Gilchrist up there digging, tried to get it out to Guy Carbonneau. Puck comes up around. Here's Ledyard shooting. That stop, rebound in front. Koivu will pounce on it. Has some room and gets the puck out.
One thing the Canadiens want to do tonight is they want to be tougher in their own end zone, especially clearing the front of the net.
This is Darian Hatcher. Feathers it up ahead. Mike Modano steps in. Danfus got a piece of that. Thibault scoops it to Danfus. Gets by him. And the puck pops up out of play. 18:44 to go in the first period. We're just rolling in this one, 0-0.
I mentioned about Mario's team improving offensively because they're up to 3.27 goals a game. That's almost about a goal more than they were scoring earlier this year. Defensively, though, they're still sitting about 14th in the league. That's where he feels they have got to tighten up in their own end zone, play their positions better. They had two-a-days on Wednesday and Thursday this past week, a little mini training camp.
Benoit Brunet has a back injury, and the other scratches all numbers. Well, Robert Dirk also out with a long-term injury. We saw him make his debut and his finale with the Canadiens this year, it may well have been.
And Robert Dirk played Saturday night against Ottawa, but he took maybe too many penalties for Mario's liking.
Dirk getting back into the lineup after hurting himself in his first game with Montreal, late in the first period. Ruchinski up along the boards trying to get it out. Malikov Flips it up for Downfus. Rachinski is with him as they come in. Bure's out there too. Tried to stride towards that net, but Modano broke it up. Gets it up ahead, and here comes Benoit Hogue. Shoots! Rachinski picks up the rebound. And he'll just dump it down the ice. Ludwig back there to tag it up, and icing called in the Montreal Canadiens.
7-game unbeaten streak. They've won their last 4 road games. Coming into this building tonight, Ken Hitchcock knew it would be a tough one. The team hadn't won in here since February the 23rd, 1987. But what Hitchcock has done well is get these guys moving now. They're playing a more offensive game. There you take a look at the Dallas scratches right now. Greg Adams, unfortunate that he's out of the lineup, as well as Bassett.
Ken Hitchcock says in December his team lost 10 points in the last 5 minutes of games. During that stretch they went 2-10-2. And they were just folding up late in hockey games, not playing, as coaches will always tell you, drum it into you, you have to play the full 60 minutes, and they weren't doing that. Nieuwendyk looking for that puck, but it gets crowded up along the boards, and a penalty coming up, and it's going to go against Montreal, so Dallas will pick up the first power play of the hockey game.
Quintel's going to get it for checking from behind. Dallas has had difficulties on the power play all year long, but boy, have they ever been improving lately. A lot of it has been the reason because their big guns have been starting to go. There you see that check from behind, and the reason why Quintel is off to the penalty box.
Quintel gets called for cross-checking. Nieuwendyk out there, Benoit Hogue and Mike Modano. And they actually moved Modano back to the right point. Over at the left point, number 4, Kevin Hatcher. Montreal's penalty killing pretty much in the middle of the pack, 14th.
And it's been there all year long. There hasn't been much movement killing penalties for the Canadiens.
Here's Hatcher. Over to Modano. Nieuwendyk parked just off the edge of the net. Now he'll curl into the corner, but the puck comes out. Malikov after it and couldn't skip by Modano. Thibault. Lehtinen up there after the puck. Hogue flipped it across in front, nobody home.
Interesting combination out here, though, because the Montreal Canadiens score a lot of shorthanded goals, and the Dallas Stars give a lot up.
1:26 to go in the power play for Dallas. Nieuwendyk gets it up ahead. Here comes Hogue up to the line. Nieuwendyk is with him. Lehtinen going for the front of the net. Lehtinen in the corner. Gets it in front. Hatcher flipped it up there. That's knocked away. Hatcher moved in from the left point and almost finished it off. Here's Hogue, and a penalty coming up.
Odeline got a stick in the face, I think.
And that will do it for Dallas's power play. 1:06 still to go in the man advantage. Benoit Hogue will head off.
Other than going to the penalty box, Benoit Hogue has been off to a flying start in tonight's game, but he's been that way for quite some time now anyway. He had an 11-game point streak just broken Wednesday night against San Jose. He's been hot.
That was the longest point streak of his career. He's done well since coming over from the Toronto Maple Leafs back on January 28th.
Odeline went down. Benoit Hogue goes up.
So the teams will play 4-on-4 for 1:06, and then Montreal will have a power play.
Gilchrist facing off. He was one of those former Canadians, spent 4 years here as a Montreal Canadian.
Puck pushed into the corner, all the way back now. Matvichuk shooting. And that breaks a stick blade and spins off into the corner. That broke Wood's stick. Gilchrist along the boards. Battling away with Turgeon. Gilchrist. Now Wood with a new stick and right back into the play. Brisebois trying to hold him off. And here comes Recchi. Recchi gets it up ahead to Turgeon. Recchi is with him. Brisebois, the third man up. Puck comes up around the boards now, and the Stars will start right back. This is Modano carrying it. Lehtinen is with him. Drops it across. Sidor was spun around there. He continued the chase briefly. Now Lehtinen with it. Turgeon picks it up. Modano watching him. In 8 seconds, Montreal will go on the power play. Andy Moog plays it all the way up to Lehtinen. Here's Wilkie. Montreal on the power play. 50 seconds to go on the man advantage. Here comes Danfus. Gets it across. Kovalenko. Malikov moves it up. Danfus along the boards. Kovalenko trying to get loose in front. Brzezinski over into the corner after it. Now Kovalenko stepping down. Hurries that puck up around. Wilkie to the forehand. Moves it across. Blocked in the way through. Carbonneau blocks it once and twice.
Carbonneau's blocked more than a few shots in the Montreal Forum. Of course, they were usually for the team in the red sweaters.
And they're in a festive move tonight. They cheered Carbonneau for the 2 shot blocks. Here's Danfus. Gets it in front. Puck tapped back out. Hatcher was after it. Nieuwendyk couldn't pick it up. Danfus picks his way through traffic. Montreal on a change. The team's back at even strength. Danfus just dumps it in. 14:45 to go in the first period. Savage moves in. He's got Stevenson in front. Koivu's up there too. Here's Saku Koivu after it. Ledyard bouncing him. Hatcher gets it up around the boards. Popovic knocks it down, flips it up there. Stevenson was looking for it, but cleared up ahead, and Modano's on the way. Hogan Lettinen are with him. He smoked that on goal, and it's stopped and covered up by Thibault. Ken Dryden, one of the greatest goaltenders in the history of the game, front row center, one of many former Canadiens in attendance tonight.
This building is full of legends tonight.
It's funny, people talked about sadness with the building closing, which I really couldn't pick up today. It's more of a party-like atmosphere, a huge celebration. This is Joe Nieuwendyk. Kovalenko knocks it down. Recchi moving up after the puck. He's bounced along the boards by Ludwig. Popovic with it. Flips that puck up there. Nieuwendyk. And Kovalenko hooking up in the corner. Recchi tried to center it. Moog alertly poking that one away, but here's Brisebois. Turgeon pounces on it. Hit the side of the net. Turgeon drops it down. Kovalenko hovering over to pick it up. Gets it to Turgeon. Scores! Pierre Turgeon makes it 1-0 Montreal.
Turgeon is an opportunist. Once he got that puck in the slot, watch, he looked down, he got control of it, just looked up quickly. He saw there was some room short side on Andy Moog, and boy, he just flicked it there.
.620 the time of the goal. Turgeon gets it. Kovalenko should pick up an assist, but we'll wait for the official. And Montreal with a 1-0 lead. Here's Ledyard. Moves it up to Gilchrist. Wood flips it up there. He just bounced that puck wide. Todd Harvey is out there for Dallas. He was sent down for a little stint in the minors to rediscover his game, as his coach diplomatically puts it. And Harvey stepping back into the lineup. He was really pumped about being in this one. I talked to him this morning. Here's Harvey. Shoots. That one almost trickled through. Puck up around back of the net. Gilchrist battling away. Thibault stopped that one. Wood tried to wrap it around, but the door was closed.
Harvey once again goes down in the slot. It's a tough, very physical game this first period. There's the man Paul just talked about that got sent down to the K-Wings. Yeah, he discovered his game. I think he also got the message loud and clear that you've got to be consistent to stay in the National Hockey League. He's a young player. He's got a big heart. He'll be fine.
First round pick, 9th overall back in 1993, and a tremendous leader a couple of times with Canada's gold medal winning national junior team.
Hitchcock has had a good way with these players. They're very happy. He's a good communicator. He's given them a little bit more rope offensively. At the same time, he's very demanding defensively.
Here's Benoit Hogue off the draw. Lettinen into the corner. Modano's out there with him. Modano takes a scenic route all the way back. Couldn't get it in on goal. Hogue was battling there in front. Modano again. Up for Lehtinen. He'll head into the corner. Malikov jars him along the boards. Modano going for the front. Almost one-time that one. Didn't get it flush in the stick. Damphus flipping it up ahead. Rachinski guides that puck in on goal, and Moog will hold on to it. Martin Rachinski couldn't quite wheel that one in, and just ran out of room as he got in tight. The puck rolled to Moog.
This guy has been a real pleasant surprise for the Montreal Canadiens, coming across from the Colorado Avalanche. This guy has been putting the puck in the net. He's been creating offense. He's been playing on the line with Vinny Damphus and Valerie Bure. Was he the throw-in in the deal? Well, he's been a pretty good throw-in. With 38 points his last 23 games and is a plus 15. How's that for good leadership?
Puck comes back to David Wilkie. Shoots! Moog knifed that one away. Rachinski looking for a bit of room. Matvichuk sends it up around. And Bill Heward will start back. Up ahead to Todd Harvey. Has Carbonneau up there with him. Puck into Carbonneau's corner. Being watched by Wilkie. Harvey comes up. Harvey battles his way in front. Trying to jam that puck in. Loose at the side. A penalty coming up. Todd Harvey making things happen. Crashing the crease. And a penalty coming up here against Montreal. It'll be an interference call.
Harvey ended up getting his nose dirty, but he was battling in the corner for the puck. He came out with it, then headed for the net before he got crunched into the net. That's his game. When he's playing that well, he brings a smile to Ken Hitchcock's face.
So 11:51 to go in the first period. And it's Martin Rachinski heading to the box for the Montreal Canadiens. Nieuwendyk, Hogue, and Lehtinen out there. Again for Dallas in this power play. Hatcher and Modano will set up back at the blue line.
But it's the big guys right now for the Dallas Stars that has got them going. Joe Nieuwendyk has supplied excellent leadership, but it's been Mike Modano that's putting the puck in the net. He's ended up with 11 points in his last 6 games.
Needs 2 points for 500 on his career. And currently riding the crest of his 6-game consecutive point-scoring streak. No offense yet for Dallas in this game. 1:40 to go in the power play. Lots of time. Kevin Hatcher will drill it in. Nieuwendyk up there after it. Hogue as well. Lehtinen picks up that puck. Odeline has it. And is cleared down the ice. No problems yet for the Canadiens. Mark Bureau had lots of time. 1:20 to go in the power play. Dallas on the man advantage. Hogue chips it up ahead. Gilchrist and Marshall out there after it. But Thibault will just hold on. 1:15 to go in the power play.
Thibault got the call again tonight. He didn't have much work on him Saturday night against Ottawa, that's for sure. Only ended up with, I think, 13 shots.
Jocelyn.
He said that was more difficult, though, because it is very difficult when goaltenders don't get many shots ball. It's tough to focus.
You see that mask Thibault has? We're talking about tradition and everything tonight. That mask is paying tribute to the father of the goaltender's mask, Jacques Plante. It is meant to symbolize the first mask that Plante wore. And that was not Thibault's idea. It was, in fact, the designer of the mask. Thibault gave him free rein. He said, put whatever you want on it. And that's what he decided to do. Very fitting. Here's Modano. 1:09 to go on the power play. Marshall trying to find a little bit of real estate there in front. And he was getting some help up there as well from Brent Fedek.
Fedek ran out of real estate. He went crashing right into the wall. A red wall, not the end boards.
50 seconds left in the power play for the Stars. Gilchrist shoots it in. Thibault gives it right to Gilchrist. Back to Kevin Hatcher. Fedek with it. Marshall coming around to help out. Gilchrist was lurking in front, but Saku Koivu drills the puck down the ice. 30 seconds left in the power play. Kevin Hatcher tucks it up ahead to Nieuwendyk. Comes in at the line with Harvey. Harvey is popped. A couple of tough customers. He bounced into Bureau. Neither fell.
Harvey took a look, though, to see who it was for sure. Got the license plate, and they'll meet again, no doubt.
Harvey coming up and couldn't make it in over the blue line with the puck. The teams are back at even strength. 9:50 to go in the first period. Montreal leading 1-0. Malakov up around the boards. Recchi looking for it. Nieuwendyk is over there. Daryl Sador. Daryl Sador still with it. Harvey going to the net, so is Wood. Sador tried to tuck it out there in front. Now Sador's got it again. Harvey after it. Wood hanging out there. Now he'll come in to help out. Richard Matvichuk. That's blocked on the way through by Malakov, and the Canadiens start back. Recchi has it. Turgeon breaking down towards the net. And Recchi just firing that one in. It was blockered away. No problem there for Andy Moog. 9:02 to go in the first period. 1-0 Montreal. Rod Smith is with us tonight. And Rod, who are you with?
A very special guest, Paul-Henri the Pocket Rocket Richard. More Stanley Cup rings than anyone in history. How emotional a night is this for you, sir?
Well, I felt a little shaky. I didn't think I was going to feel that way. I felt a little shaky. Close to tears.
Close to tears. What is the fondest memory? You have so many great memories in this building.
Well, of course, my first Stanley Cup with Montreal Canadiens, 1955. And being able to play with my brother Maurice then, which I was only 6 years old when he started with Montreal.
Great memories. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rod Smith in the crowd tonight, roaming around, and take your pick. A dignitary at every turn to talk to.
He doesn't have to go far tonight to find a legend, though, does he?
They are all over the place.
Go, go, go!
And interesting to hear Henri Richard talking about being shaky, just sitting in the stands, watching this game and seeing all the introductions. Benoit Hogue up there after it, twisting around, trying to get the puck loose. Modano up there to help out. Lehtinen barging his way to the corner, but Bure will pick it up for Montreal, and the Canadiens start back, led by Damphus. Hits the line. Rachinski going to the net. Bure's up there. Couldn't wheel in the pass. Rachinski gets it out for Damphus. Back for Rachinski. Moves it around. And Hogue bumps him, and Modano coming back out. Modano hits the line. Dallas on the line change, so Modano up there by himself, and that rush just kind of snuffs out.
Rachinski was guilty of trying to do a little bit too much stick handling in the offensive zone, ended up creating the turnover.
Bure powered to the ice by Hatcher. Kevin Hatcher just wrapped him up and said, "No, you don't." Quintal back after it for Montreal. Turner Stevenson. Koivu looking for a bit of room. Carbonneau pressuring him there. Pass up behind Savage. He'll give chase up there. Shoots! And the puck bounced out. Koivu fires it right back in. Turner Stevenson lumbering after it. Koivu comes up. But Carbonneau able to clear it down the ice. And icing is called on Dallas.
Well, I don't know whether 24 of these guys got tickets, but let's see. There's about a half a dozen thus far. The Cupheads tonight have come to the game, and it is in fitting memory of the many Stanley Cups. You're right, Paul. Everyone will have their own different memories of this building.
I'm not sure whether their memories of tonight will be that good, judging by the looks of it. Some of those cups looked as though they were on a little tight. Fedek up there after it. Nieuwendyk and Fedek. Fedek bounced there by Brisebois. Marshall trying to move up there. He's loose in front. Now he steps around to go after Brisebois. Turgeon has it now for Montreal. Recchi and Kovalenko with him as they swirl to the line. There's the shot. And Moog will hold on to it.
You talk about some of the better players for the Dallas Stars coming on. Certainly Andy Moog is one of those key leaders. Moog right now is playing very strong in the nets for Ken Hitchcock. And I think when you look at Moog and look at his record, I mean, he's 5-0-1 his last 7 games, only had 1.77 goals against. Saves like this, the focus of Andy Moog, that could well get Dallas into a playoff position.
He has played some great games against the Montreal Canadiens, defeated them 18 times in his career. He's won 7 times here in this building. Lehtinen clears it up there for Dallas. Brzezinski bumped there by Benoit Hogue. Lehtinen and Modano up after it. Lehtinen will come away. Around to Hogue. Centers it in front. Puck cleared back out, but intercepted. Damphus breaks back. Brzezinski's up ahead of him. A little bit too far ahead of him. Offside called on Montreal.
This guy's been a real strong leader for the Montreal Canadiens, especially after the start of the season. Vinny Damphus always has difficulties getting going early in the hockey season, but the last 23 games, he's had 36 points, been a +9. Just has slow starts, unfortunately, for Jacques Demers.
Savage for Montreal gives up the puck. Harvey has it now. Harvey drops it around. Wood is in front. Here's Koivu. Koivu will flip it up, and Hatcher wheels that down. Up ahead to Harvey. Gilchrist steps in. Harvey moves up to pick it up. He's been solid in this first period. Harvey battling his way in around back. Locked up there with Koivu. Here's Quintal now for Montreal. Turner Stevenson ahead to Savage. Savage tried to flip it back through for Stevenson. Now Stevenson meeting up with Hatcher. A couple of big boys meet up there in the corner. Carbonneau starting back for Dallas. Hatcher trailing. Hatcher with it. And Sador was up there as well, but Hatcher electing to get it on goal. And no problem for Thibault to cover that up. 5:12 to go in the first period. 1-0 Montreal leads.
A little bit of concern in the Montreal Canadiens organization for Saku Koivu, who in the last couple of months has had a more difficult time. He got off to such a great start, still going to be a 20-goal scorer this year, which would put him in the category of, you'd say, great season. But he's only had 2 goals, 7 assists in his last 22 games. He's played more games this year already. And make note that he has played in every single game for the Canadiens. Only one of 3 players that has done that. But he's been used in the past to a much shorter season, so it's an adjustment for him.
Of course, playing over in the Finnish Elite League, you don't play nearly as long a season, and you also have breaks for big tournaments at Christmas time and near the end of the season. Brisebois fires it in.
Sit!
Matvechuk will start out. Here's Sador, up to Carbonneau. Brisebois, a little bit of room. And runs into Grant Marshall, and the puck pushed back into Montreal territory. Marshall giving chase to Bureau right to the corner, but Brisebois will start it back. Coughs it up, Fedek right there, almost stuffed it in. Marshall trying to get it in front. Here's Nieuwendyk. He's dumped to the ice. Marshall over there to help out. He's got it. Almost got it onto the stick of Fedek. Brashear starting back for Montreal. And Sador back to pick his pocket.
Brashear's in there forechecking. He's looking for that first goal. He's had a little bit of a rough ride by the media the last few days.
Here comes Wilkie driving by Matvechuk. And Modano will start back. Good pace to this first period as Jari Lehtinen brings it to the line. Modano to Darian Hatcher. Modano shoots. Ledyard up there after it. And now Wilkie has it for Montreal. Hatcher at the line, battling with Turgeon. Here's Wilkie to Kovalenko. Over to Recchi. Tickled there by Ledyard on the way by, and Modano will pick it up. to Lettinen. Benoit Hogue hits the line. He has Modano with him. Hatcher coming up as well. He'll take it. Darian Hatcher trying to get away from Kovalenko. Centers it in front. Hogue and Harvey were both crashing through with the Canadiens start back. Malakoff strides in over the blue line and tried to get it to Odeline, but that disintegrated.
Canadiens are hoping Malakoff has a great game tonight. He played very well against Ottawa. They're looking for consistency from this man.
2:45 to go in the first period. Montreal with a 1-0 lead. Pierre Turgeon with the goal. Bure back to Brisebois. Bure coming down the middle as Popovic gets stopped up there at the line. Bure up after it. Randy Wood tied up. Raczynski starting back now for Montreal. Has Bure and Danfus with him. Marshall pummeled there by Danfus. They bumped.
Danfus really laid a good shoulder right into Marshall.
And Marshall, tough as nails, did not drop. 1:55 to go in the first period. Puck skips away there from Savage. Matt Tkachuk with it.
Good hits in this game.
Turner Stevenson throwing his weight around as he has a couple of times. Popovic with it. Gets it up around. Puck bounces by Savage. Matt Tkachuk battling there at the line. And was able to poke it away from Koivu, who may have gotten away. Fedek pokes it into the corner. Dallas getting in a couple of changes on the go as Koivu starts back for Montreal. All the way up to Savage. Up to the line. Stevenson is with him. Lettinen coming back the other way. Here comes Hogue and on goal. That's tucked away by Thibault. Quintal with a good job to get back and tie up Benoit Hogue. But now Hogue's got the puck. Centers it in front. Modano rolls it up there. Scramble. And it's poked ahead and the Canadiens will start back. Here comes Savage. Long shot. Turgeon streaking up there after it. He's given a bump by Ludwig. Now Hogue with it. Kevin Hatcher up to Lettinen. That's blocked. Wilkie got in front of that. 40 seconds to go in the period.
Now this is good hockey. Good body checks, good pace.
Here comes Kovalenko. Wired that one up wide off the glass. And Bill Heward will start back for Dallas. Tried to feed Carbonneau there. Here's Odeline. Rings it up around to Malakoff. 20 seconds to go in the period. Ledyard with that puck. To Darian Hatcher. Bounced away. Raczynski tried to get it back down low to Bure, but broken up. Carbonneau gets it off the boards. Raczynski knocks it down. Up ahead. Bure ran into the referee, and then Hatcher. Double trouble. And that'll do it for the first period. Great pace. Well, you talk about historic events to take place in this building. There have been many of them. But you want to narrow it right down to the day. 59 years ago, to the day, March 11th, 1937, one of the greatest hockey players ever, Howie Morenz, was lying in state here at the Forum, where his funeral was held. 12,000 people. And at the time, it put the entire city into mourning, and that is to the day, 59 years ago. Happier and perhaps more reflective times tonight as we get set to the second period. The Montreal Canadiens leading Dallas 1-0. No, you can't walk anywhere in this building, Gary, without history of some sort staring you in the face, be it the Montreal Canadiens dressing room, down by the benches when you think about what's taken place there, nooks and crannies where Gump Worsley used to hide out and smoke between periods back when he played goal for the Canadiens.
Well, because of the greatness of this organization, it's always put good pressure, and I say good pressure, on the players to perform at their best.
Here's Modano trying to get it in front to Benoit Hogue. Bure starting back. Comes up to the line. Raczynski with him. Danfus whirling around. Modano poking it back there. Puck fired in. Good shot by Odeline, and it's held there by Moog.
Mesdames, Messieurs, saluons chaleureusement notre groupe d'anciens des Canadiens avec nous ce soir.
We talk about the battles going on for playoff position. Look at where the Dallas Stars are right now. But what they have got is the games remaining. You see, they've got 17 games coming into tonight. They've got some games in hand. Of course, you've got to win those games in hand. But, boy, I'll tell you what, Bob Gainey and Ken Hitchcock feel real good right now about the role that their team is on. Bob Gainey said it's at the right time of the year.
The perception was you had two totally different coaches in Gainey and Hitchcock, but Ken Hitchcock takes exception to that. He says Bob Gainey favored defense through patience. Hitchcock favors defense through persistence. Just a slightly different tack, but the same result. Here's Turgeon. Works his way loose. Recchi shoots. Big stop by Moog. That was wired point blank, and Moog nailed it.
Vedek's not happy that he got that opportunity. Recchi was standing right in the slot. Vedek should have had him. Watch as that puck came out. You see Vedek coming across a little too late. Recchi getting that shot away, but Andy Moog right on top of his game.
And you talked earlier, Gary, about what a huge part Andy Moog has been of this Dallas turnaround. A team that was out of it in December. They went 2-10-2. And they've still got a ways to go, but they are back in the race. And the race and Dallas Stars, not two phrases that were mentioned in the same sentence not too long ago. Here comes Gilchrist. He breaks through. Puck bouncing down there. Canadiens will regroup. Wilkie is shoveling it down into Dallas territory. Stevenson up there after it. That negates the icing call. And here's Harvey. Gets it across to Randy Wood. Darian Hatcher coming up there as well. He'll step in. Wood and Harvey both going towards the net. Gilchrist up there too. And Wilkie breaks it up for Montreal. Quintal for the Canadiens. Chased out, knocked down by Modano. He steps in, shoots, and hit Wood on the way through to the goal.
Boy, can Modano ever shoot a puck?
He has really turned it on for Dallas. Wilkie firing it down into Stars territory. Daryl Sador picks it up, and icing is called on Montreal.
Modano has just got one excellent shot, and when he's on top of his game and got his confidence level to where it's at right now, he's one dangerous player out there. He has really got this whole team going right now. You see some of their attributes. Andy Moog has been a big part of that. Defensively, Mike Modano offensively has been shining. Ken Hitchcock said, though, that Joe Nieuwendyk has meant an awful lot to Mike Modano's game. He's taught him how to be a good leader. On and off the ice, he's given Modano some confidence, and he's revived his game. Boy, Modano has sure had the jump tonight.
Hitchcock described Nieuwendyk to me as a voice of reason in the dressing room. Damphus clears it out. Here's Hogue. Damphus with it.
Nieuwendyk's also taken some pressure off of Modano by giving them a big second center iceman.
Malikov fires it across. The door steps up there to pick it up. Early in the second period, Montreal leading Dallas 1-0 in this final game at the Forum in Montreal. Here comes Hogue back in. Matvichuk with it. Long pass up to Bure. Up to Damphus. Odeline up there as well. Rochinski going to the front of the net too. Here's Damphus. Battles in front. Chipped on goal. Moog stops it with a goal line stand.
Canadiens have been going to the net tonight. They've got one goal because of it, but Andy Moog's going to be tough for them to beat tonight. You can see that the Stars are also going to the net. And that's something that Ken Hitchcock wants his team and feels his team has been better at lately. A little bit more aggressive in the bottom part of their defensive zone. Otherwise, the corners and in front of the net.
Turgeon up there to take the face-off. And facing off against Joe Nieuwendyk. Here's Hatcher. Turgeon taps it up there at the line. Nieuwendyk going hard up there. Brisebois bouncing it. Fedit couldn't wheel it in. Recchi gets it across for Kovalenko. Turgeon, Recchi both flying up there. Here's Brisebois. Marshall and Kovalenko going after it. Marshall managing to get that puck out. Kovalenko chops at it. Tries to get it across in front. Recchi lunging at that puck. He was off balance. And here's Kevin Hatcher. Nieuwendyk steps in. Nieuwendyk with Fedit coming in towards the net. Nieuwendyk still, those big strides of his, able to get that puck loose. Persistence from Nieuwendyk. He'll flip it into the corner. Wood there to pick it up for Dallas. All the way around. Wood still with it. Bit of traffic in front for him, but he can't get the puck there. Popovic was watching him.
Wood's a good battler, though.
Puck comes to the line. Lawler knocked it down. And finally, it's chopped out. This is Darian Hatcher with it. Montreal hurrying in a couple of changes. Heward clears that puck in. Carbonneau and Koivu after it. Now this is Turner Stevenson. Bumped by Heward, but he got rid of the puck. Savage up there. Hoping that puck would pop loose for him. Lettinen starting back. Heward comes in. Carbonneau there to meet it. Lettinen up along the boards. Koivu battling with him. Carbonneau comes away with that puck out to Heward. Pounded that one. Popovic got a piece of it. Here's Carbonneau. Looking around. He had Heward in front. He's got Hatcher out there too. That one just chopped wide. Lawler bangs it up. Here's Carbonneau. Checked by Popovic. Good pressure here by the Stars, but they can't finish off with a good shot on goal. Heward in the corner. Carbonneau rolls it back. Hatcher lunging after it. Lawler has it now. Rachinski stepping in there for Montreal off the change. Here come the reinforcements. Damphus after it. Damphus battling there, gets it out to Bure. Down low, Rachinski in front of the net. That stop, they jam at it. And again, Moog is able to hold him off. Some say the greatest ever to play for the Montreal Canadiens, judging by the ovation he got at the start of the game. Might have been just a touch louder than the ovations accorded to Jean Beliveau and Guy Lafleur.
Well, he had one good line today, and that was that, don't ask me that question again. I've been asked it for 15 million times this last week, what it's like to have the final game of the form coming up on Monday. I'm sure he was asked it a lot, Paul.
Damphus bumped there. Ludwig knocked into the ice. Bure up after it. Down to Rachinski. Rachinski up for Damphus. Just skipped away from him. Modano being covered there by Bure. Now he'll chase Malikov up there. Here comes Bure. Damphus coming in. And Sidor picked his pocket. Now Bure into the corner. Benoit Hogue will start back. This is Matvichuk up to the line. He's there with Modano and Hogue. Hogue takes it, cuts in, had Modano in front, but he comes around. Sidor moving in, couldn't get a stick in that pass. Odeline breaking back. Turgeon's with him. And offside called, and for good measure, Benoit Hogue plants Odeline.
Odeline went for the slide. Turgeon went offside. And Benny Hogue was the checker coming from behind.
Well, you think of Lyle Odeline, pardon me, and you think, well, you know, the guy's, all he can do is rack up penalty minutes, which he does. 184 this year. He led the team last year, but adds a little bit more than that.
Actually, I mean, when you talk to Mario Tremblay, he really likes Odeline as a leader, but yet he's been rumored for about the last 2 months to be leaving the Montreal organization. I think it would take quite a bit to get him out of here. You talk about penalty minutes. I was surprised he's the second all-time leader in penalty minutes to Chris Nyland.
Hey, that's good company, or bad company, depending on what kind of hockey you like, I guess. Kovalenko up there after it. Shouldering his way around the net. Recchi there to help him out. Kovalenko dumped. Hatcher comes in to mix it up. Puck in front, Turgeon. He stopped. Recchi, he stopped. No, he's not. Recchi got it. Mark Recchi puts Montreal up 2-0.
Montreal, give them credit. They battled away here. Recchi looked for the puck. He just flipped it, and Imog was down on his back, and that puck trickled in. The Canadiens, though, were persistent. They went right after the Dallas Stars in deep. They got Andy Moog caught laying on his back. Under big pressure, Recchi scores the goal.
Turgeon will pick up an assist. And Montreal with a 2-0 lead. Wilkie has it for Montreal. Up to Turner Stevenson. He'll start off. Savage into the corner. Hatcher rides him into the boards. Koivu up there. Turner Stevenson steps away. Centered it in front. Knocked away by Ludwig. Grant Marshall up ahead to Nieuwendyk.
At 6 minutes and 39 seconds.
Ludwig taps it in from the line. Right back out comes Saku Koivu. Up there with Stevenson and Savage. Koivu shoots one. That was partially blocked. And the rebound picked up by Hatcher. This is Nieuwendyk in over the blue line. Marshall takes the pass. Marshall to Nieuwendyk. Savage blocked that. Marshall in the corner. Bounced off the puck by Quintal. Here's Fedek trying to get it loose. Daryl Sador hoeing away at that puck. Out for Matvechuk. Bure tiptoes to the line. Snakes his way up to Damphousse. Shoots! Rebound cleared away by Sador.
Vinny Damphousse cut to that slot and used that tricky backhand.
Here's Damphousse. Rashinsky is in front. Bure's out there too. Damphousse right there in front of the net. Knocked away. And Ledyard hustling back now for Dallas. Up ahead to Modano. Gets it across. Offside is called on Dallas.
Mark Recchi had a little discussion this morning with an old pal, Ken Hitchcock. Mark Recchi, a former junior player in Kamloops, and of course, also played for the Philadelphia Flyers when Ken Hitchcock was an assistant coach.
Well, I know your heart's with Peterborough. Those old alliances go back, but I tell you what, Kamloops might be the Western Hockey League equivalent of Peterborough in terms of players and coaches churned out.
Great junior hockey organization.
Tom Rennie, who coaches the Olympic team out of Kamloops. Don Hay, an assistant with Calgary from the Kamloops Blazers. Ken Hitchcock, of course. Here's Bure. Gets it up ahead. Odeline, long shot. Hatcher there to corral it. Malakoff pokes at that puck. Here's Rachinsky. He's got Damphousse and Bure up there with him as they swirl around. Damphousse back of the net. Lawler going after it. And Benoit Hogue will carry that puck for Dallas. Here comes Modano. Tried to pound that through its block. Hatcher scores! Darian Hatcher with a great shot. Picked the corner, and Dallas is in this one. They're down 2-1.
Thibault, just plain and simple, didn't expect that shot to be coming. He was really parked back in his net. Watch. And to his right, what a shot by Darian Hatcher. He just used the good wrists, and there was enough room for him to be able to find that opening to finally put Dallas on the board here. Hatcher worked his way, first of all, in offensively, and that's something that Dallas has improved upon. They've been getting more offense from their defense. Darian Hatcher's been assisting, but Kevin Hatcher, of course, has had the reins. He can go now.
Well, you know who else can go, and it's a matter of getting his confidence back, is Daryl Sador. Here's Carbonneau. Moves it across. Heward shooting. That's stopped by Thibault. Good stop on Bill Heward from the front door. Gilchrist giving a bump there along the boards. Malikov gets it up around and hops over Quintal and all the way down the ice. And icing is called on Dallas. 10:03 to go in the second period. Montreal up 2-1.
It's also the reason the Canadiens have been playing better. Saturday night was a typical example. Malikov was playing better because he was moving up with the play. You can't be successful right now in the National Hockey League unless you start getting some offense from your defense. You look at the better teams in the league right now, and they're getting that offense from their defense. Even a team like the Florida Panthers, who have really struggled in the last couple of weeks, were surprisingly in the top 3 teams in the league getting offense from their defense.
So Hatcher gets that last Dallas goal. Darian Hatcher, Mike Modano and Benoit Hogue picking up the assists. Here's Quintal. And you know the Montreal players are pumped for this game, but judging by the reaction of many of the Dallas players, both at the morning skate and right down around the dressing room before the game, they're as intense as the Canadiens are. They want to spoil the party. And plus, it's a big game for them as they're battling for a playoff spot. Here's Matvichuk. Wilkie knocks it down there for the Canadiens. Daryl Sador up around to Wood. Quintal takes it for the Canadiens. And Recchi just let it go. Would have been an offside pass. Instead, it'll be icing.
You know, it's one thing, Paul, when you come into this building and all through the years, it was not very difficult to motivate your players to play well. Not a lot had to be said. The morning skate, you can feel the pressure here in the building to perform well. So often it was because, well, the fans and the Montreal Canadiens were all putting that pressure on the visiting teams to come in and perform well. You know, as a team coming in here, you felt that pressure because if you didn't perform well, you felt you were going to get embarrassed, and that was pretty scary.
When you used to go in coaching the Capitals, either here in Montreal or in Toronto, which building did the players tend to be more up for, or was it pretty equal?
I think it was pretty equal, even though there were probably more players that had family that were going to be there in Toronto, but yet this building maybe had more pressure on coming into it. And it had a lot to do, too, with the quality of teams at that time that were here with the Canadiens.
Hey, you were coaching against some great teams. Oh, what a mess and what a stop. Fedek almost tucked that in. A horrendous adventure there for Jocelyn Thibault as he came up to play the puck, and Fedek almost bagged him.
Canadiens almost got caught for too many men on the ice. They were close.
Here's Brisebois. He clears it up. Savage up after him. Hatcher up to Marshall. Here's Stevenson in front. Scores! Koivu! Saku Koivu for Montreal, and it's 3-1 Canadiens.
The smart offensive players know to go to the net, and when you do, be ready. That's exactly what Koivu did. He went there, he positioned himself, watch. He was watching the puck, he had his stick down, and he deflected that puck right between the legs of Andy Moog. Moog didn't have much of an opportunity there as he was going down. That puck was going through his legs. Koivu, a smart play.
11:32, the time of the goal. Saku Koivu gets it. And that was moments after the Canadiens had dodged a big bullet. When their goaltender, Jocelyn Thibault, came out to try to handle the puck, he almost got caught flat-skated. Malikov moves it up. Here's Hogue. Tried to feed Modano there, broken up by Malikov.
Malikov has had some difficulties handling the puck in close tonight. He was smart just to feed it back to Odelay.
And Danfus will wind it back. Raczynski trying to play that. Has Bure with him. Odeline skates back to pick it up. Hogue up to pressure Odeline. Damphus lifting it ahead to Raczynski. Knocked down by Kevin Hatcher. Over to Ludwig. Glove down there by Malakoff. He'll step in. Shoots. And nice block there by Ludwig as he dropped in front of it.
His body's been bruised a lot over the years from blocking shots. He's one of the great shot blockers still in this league.
And he heads into the corner trying to block Turgeon here. Quintal for Montreal. 3-1, the Canadiens lead. Kovalenko will start it off. Here's Turgeon, just fired it wide.
Sador didn't like the fact that Turgeon got in behind him. He gave him a pretty good whack.
Harvey going for the net. Carbonneau gets it out to Harvey, but he was checked by Kovalenko. And Kovalenko starting back up to Recchi. Has Turgeon with him as they come in. Turgeon. Stripped of the puck by Sador, who comes back. Carbonneau is with him. And Sador knocked down by Quintal. Carbonneau up after it. Carbonneau centers it. Here's Heward shooting. That stop. Rebound in front. And the Canadiens will start back out. Kovalenko holding the fort. Carries to the line. Kovalenko up there. Shoots. Scores.
Kovalenko just moved into the slot. He kept stick handling. Finally, he decided, hey, it's time to shoot. And look what happened. That puck got in behind Moog, and I think that man was as surprised as anyone.
Kovalenko at 13:56 carried it all the way from the Canadian zone into Dallas territory before notching Montreal's fourth.
Son 24e de la saison, compté sans aide par le numéro 51. Canadiens goal, his 24th of the season, scored unassisted by number 51, Andrei Kovalenko.
Solid shot from Kovalenko. After Thibault had knocked it away.
À 13 minutes 56 secondes, at 13 minutes and 56 seconds.
Brisebois up to Stevenson. Puck knocked down there. Marshall trying to step in. And the Dallas Stars had better pull back in the reins, or this game could get away from them. And here it's 4-1 for Montreal.
We had some pushing and shoving as we went off to commercial. Turner Stevenson was doing a little bit of that. That temper's heating up a little bit here. Right now, the Dallas Stars, though, have got to concentrate on getting back into this game, down by 3 goals very quickly. Turner Stevenson, the big, strong man for the Montreal Canadiens, hasn't exactly been what they thought and hoped for offensively this year. He's had 7 goals, only 11 assists in his 63 games, but he's played rather aggressively, and you've got to wait for a big man. This is, though, his 5th year in the Montreal organization, so he's got to start producing for them in the next year especially. They've got to see some good signs.
He was one of a trio of first-rounders the Montreal Canadiens took from the Seattle Thunderbirds. Stevenson has sort of panned out. Brent Bilodeau is still in the organization, and they're waiting for him. And Lindsey Ballas is no longer in the organization. Savage shoots. Big rebound. Hops all the way out, and Popovic had turned the other way. Here's Stevenson. Koivu goes after it. Down for Stevenson. Trying to come up with that puck. Koivu battling too. Couldn't get it away from Gilchrist. Hatcher trying to settle it down. Gets it ahead to Wood. Wood. Offside.
Savage actually had got away a pretty good shot for a man that has got a sore wrist. Savage just came back on Saturday night's game after being out for 6 games with a hip pointer and injured his wrist on Saturday night. But Mario Tremblay said he was all right. He would be playing tonight.
Here's Heward. Carbonneau up there with him. Harvey out there too. Here's Heward with a chance. He moves in and couldn't finish it off. Sidor flips it up. Heward and Sidor trying to pressure that puck loose.
Well, things were getting a little rough out there, so Chris Murray is out there for the Canadiens. He can settle it down.
Here's Todd Harvey, shoots that hit Heward. He was battling with Wilkie in front of the net. Pass up intended for Bureau. He slams into Carbonneau, and they exchange slashes and glances.
Bureau, Brashear, and Murray. A line that can definitely settle any club down.
David Wilkie with it now for Montreal. Rachinski stripped of the puck there by Fedek. Has Nieuwendyk up the middle. Up ahead to Grant Marshall. Bure. Rachinski has Danfus. And he can't knock it down. Hatcher has it starting back. Nieuwendyk. Puck up ahead. Rachinski trying to take it off the boards. Outside on Hatcher. Shoots. And that'll come all the way up around to Nieuwendyk, who taps it ahead to Hogue. He's got Marshall up to his left, but drops it off. Hatcher comes up, shoots right into the pads of Thibault, and he holds on to it.
The man who is known as the Big M. Well, if he was playing in this day and age, he wouldn't be big with these 6'4" giants we have out on the ice, but Frank Mahovlich was one-class hockey player, and a great one at that. Nice to see him out here tonight. It was nice to see him out on the ice yesterday afternoon. He's still got a little bit of a goal-scoring touch, Paul.
He'd still be the Big M, simply because the medium-sized M just doesn't cut it as a nickname. 3:21 to go in the second period. And the game was close. Dallas pulled to within one. And suddenly Montreal with a couple of goals in about 2.5 minutes. And this game in a serious way looking to get away from Dallas. Lettinen moves up after it. Hogue going for the net. Modano too. And the pass over both their heads. Hatcher chopping at it. Here comes Turgeon on the way up. Kovalenko and Recchi are with him. There's the pass in front, and Kovalenko just failed to hook up. Hogue starting back. Lettinen slammed at the line. He was going nowhere.
But Lettinen lately has been playing so well, he's been going places.
Here's Turgeon coming up. Kovalenko following in around back of the net. Centers it in front, but Modano controlling. Up ahead to Hogue. Gathering speed in over the blue line. Hogue still with it. Gets it there to Marshall. Shoots off the iron and over the glass. Big shot sizzling off the stick of Grant Marshall.
You could hear that tinkle off the crossbar all the way up here. There's the big shot. Thibault went down, and that puck went up. Watch Turgeon. He just fed that puck right across, and that could have been a dangerous tip. Kovalenko was heading to the net.
Brisebois gets it back. At this stage in the game, is Ken Hitchcock going to encourage his team to be a little more aggressive offensively for fear of letting this one get away?
Well, I think they've got to continue to challenge the net in a little bit more aggressively than they have done in this second period, Paul.
Koivu comes up there. Puck pulled away. Brisebois shoots. Popovic moves up after it. Down to Stevenson. Sidor knocked that away, and Marshall gets it down the ice.
The offense from the defense that we talked about, where Dallas has seen improvement, really hasn't been the case in this second period. Darian Hatcher got the goal, but other than that, they haven't been creating that puck movement from the blue line.
Gilchrist clears it up ahead for Wood. A little bit too far for him. Sidor has it. Carbonneau up ahead to Gilchrist. Can he get away? Yes, sir. Gilchrist shoots just wide. Carbonneau. Here's Bure with it. Bure coming in. to Danfus. Raczynski going towards the front of the net. Carbonneau breaks it up. Less than a minute to go in the period. Montreal with a 4-1 lead. Wood up ahead to Gilchrist. Carbonneau is trailing. And the puck tipped up over the glass and in amongst the spectators. 48.4 seconds remaining in period number 2.
Gilchrist has had some pretty good jump out there tonight, and that's when you take a look at the Dallas Stars right now. They've got really 3 lines that they can throw out. Watch Carbonneau make that pass to Gilchrist, then Gilchrist got away from Malakoff here. He put a pretty good move on, then couldn't quite get the shot away that he wanted, but still showed some pretty good jump. Played for 4 years here in the Montreal Canadiens. Guy Carbonneau, the man that passed it to him, played for 12 years.
And Gilchrist enjoying his best season this year since 1991-92 when he was with the Canadiens. He had 50 points that year.
Interesting that starting lineup for Ken Hitchcock tonight. He had Carbonneau with 12 years, Gilchrist with 4 years, Ludwig, who played 8 years here with the Canadiens, and Lawler for 3.5.
Tough sledding for this franchise, Dallas or Minnesota, whichever incarnation. Tough to win in this building. Going all the way back to 1967, only 9 wins. And tonight, the last chance to nudge that into double figures in this building. Modano comes in. Hogue sitting back in front. Here's Hogue, Lettinen. Try to one-time that one. Turgeon will start back for Montreal. Hatcher picks it up. 10 seconds left in the period for Kevin Hatcher. Up ahead to Hogue. Is content to dump it in. Lettinen up after it. Hogue as well. And Hatcher all over Popovic, but that will do it. For period number 2, the Montreal Canadiens will carry a 4-1 lead into the final period here at the Forum. We'll just tap it up towards center. Recchi after it. Popovic up to Kovalenko. And Ludwig back there. What do we look for here, Gary? Dallas coming out with all guns blazing, or do they sit back and wait for a mistake?
Well, it looks as though in this first shift that Dallas were going to play a little bit more defensively, and I thought that they would have come out just charging.
Puck cleared up into Montreal territory. Popovic getting there first. Hewer tried to step into him, but Turgeon will come out for Montreal. Kovalenko is with him. Turgeon trying to get outside on Ludwig. That wasn't working. Kovalenko up there wrestling for that puck. Bure down low in the corner trying to help him out. Turgeon parked up back in the net. Here's Bure. Cuts in, shoots, and the rebound scooped away. A penalty coming up. And it's going to go against Dallas. Montreal with an early power play here in the third.
Valerie Bure in his second-year pro has had a pretty decent season. 16 goals coming into tonight's game and almost found himself with another.
It is Grant Marshall heading off.
Marshall just took the legs right out from underneath the Bure, while Bure was heading to the net with the puck. Interesting that the Montreal Canadiens actually have taken 200 more minutes in penalties this year. They're the 4th leading team in penalties, but yet the Dallas Stars have actually had 19 times they've had to kill off penalties more than the Montreal Canadiens. It's been all of Montreal's majors. They've ended up with 37 more majors than the Dallas Stars, 8 more misconducts.
And is that a sign of a different style of hockey being put forward by Mario Tremblay?
Well, I think you also take a look at Montreal's 4th line, and they're a pretty big bruising line that fight a lot, but when you end up with those many more majors, you don't necessarily end up killing penalties.
1:30 to go on the power play. Raczynski working it around. Back to Brisebois. Shoots. Moog saw that one all the way through. Malakoff clears it up there. Here's Danfus. Down to Turgeon. Tried to center it. And Modano will start back now for Dallas.
Brisebois got a piece of that hard shot by Mike Modano, and he felt it.
Here comes Kovalenko. Turgeon is with him. Recchi coming up to join it as well. Puck tapped away. Carbonneau had it poked off his stick by Odeline. 55 seconds still to go on the power play for the Montreal Canadiens.
Guy Carbonneau in February, played his 1,000th game in the National Hockey League. The Canadiens captain, yes. But as many Montreal Canadiens found out over their years, that if they wanted to continue playing, they ended up having to do that with other teams, as Guy Carbonneau has done.
Well, they went through a rash of trading captains there. Chris Chelios was actually a co-captain while he was here with Guy Carbonneau. Both of those individuals traded. Kirk Muller traded away. Here's Quintal. Recchi on the way up for Montreal. 37 seconds left in the Canadiens' power play. Koivu banks it up there smartly to Recchi. Kovalenko picks it up. And Gilchrist starting back for the Stars. Has Carbonneau with it. Gilchrist short-handed. And managed to land that backhander. 15 seconds left in Montreal's power play. This is Recchi. Five seconds left in the power play. And the teams even up. Montreal leading 4-1, 16:58 to play in the third period. Wood gets it up ahead to Nieuwendyk. Nieuwendyk back for Hatcher. Marshall picks it up. Here's Wood. And Brisebois banks it down.
Kevin Hatcher had a perfect opportunity to at least get that puck on the net, and he just ended up shooting it wide.
Icing called on Montreal.
Well, the man on the left, as a leader, ends up putting out a lot of brush fires, as he's been doing. Gary Bettman, head of the National Hockey League. The man on the right, I think, has had a busy season as well, and probably looks forward to a little bit of a rest. Moving into the new form, and a lot of movement in the Canadiens organization.
Here comes Damphus. Gets it over to Raczynski. Damphus fired it wide. Rebound. Almost tucked that in the side. Here's Modano. He gets it up ahead. Hogue across. Lettinen fired that one. It was tipped wide. Hatcher up after it. And play is called. The puck was touched with a high stick, so it's whistled down. Great chance for the Canadiens as they broke in on goal.
I can't help but think that Andy Moog might be just a little bit tired. He's been playing a lot and playing well, but tonight, on a few times, he's gone down and been very slow. That one was one of them, at getting back up and into the play.
Well, he was taken out there, too, as the Canadiens rushed the net.
And the Canadiens have been doing that a lot tonight, Paul. They have been going to the net well, looking for their offense, and with 4 goals, they've got it.
Andy is 5'8", about 175 pounds. And that can wear you out in a hurry night after night when you're playing a large number of games like him. Big 6-foot forwards crashing the crease. Nieuwendyk gets it away from Koivu. He comes up to the line. Hatcher is with him. Shoots! Ludwig taps it back up. Ewart throws it across to the open wing. Nieuwendyk trying to catch up to it. Couldn't get there in time.
Hatcher had his opportunity again, Paul, the one that he would have liked to have had before, and he ends up shooting the puck wide again. He's their offensive man back in the blue line, and he's got to crank it up in this third.
So the count is 0-2 on Hatcher. We'll see if he gets a crack at it again.
All he's got to do is hit the net. He doesn't have to score, but when he's got 2 men going to the net, he's got to get it on the net.
A stick went spinning up over the glass. Gilchrist going after it.
Some lucky fan has a souvenir he didn't have to pay for.
Here's Gilchrist. He chops it up there. Gilchrist back towards the line. Matvichuk keeps it in, shoots. And Quintal bats it to the line, but not out. Finally, the Canadiens get it down the ice, and they will hurry into change. That was a long shift. Todd Harvey fires it back up there for Dallas. Here's Sidor, shoots. Thibault stops that one. Couldn't hang on to it, though. Sidor with a chance to reload, fires a shot.
Canadiens are standing around watching the Stars.
Not now. Here comes Turgeon. Ripped that one wide of the top shelf.
Is anybody going to hit the net in this third period?
Modano up to Lettinen. Back to Modano. Let's see how he does. And Modano clothesline, and the Canadiens will take a penalty. Matvichuk works it across. Puck fired up. Modano, they're trying to tip it. And a penalty coming up against Montreal. 14:08 to go in the third period. A good question. Is anybody going to hit the net? They went back and forth. And the Stars would love to hit it now on this power play.
Well, the Stars are putting on some pressure, and when that happens, and the Canadiens, as I mentioned, were guilty of standing around, you end up taking penalties like this. Kovalenko ends up doing a little bit of mauling as Modano is trying to protect the puck. Kovalenko heads to the penalty box for holding. The Stars have had the momentum. We'll see if they can capitalize on it on their power play opportunity. Turgeon had an excellent opportunity to really take some steam out of the Stars. Moak got a piece of that with his left shoulder. The puck then went high.
Turgeon scored the first goal of this game for the Canadiens back at 6:20 in the first period. It's Nieuwendyk, Lettinen, Hogue, all out there for Dallas. Kevin Hatcher and Modano, the Cannons back there at the blue line. And here's Modano. Drills that one, and the Cannon was a little off target there, about 20 rows.
Yeah, Bureau just got his stick out on that shot, and it's a good thing. When you're killing penalties against Mike Modano playing the point, you've got to get out there and stop him from shooting. He may have one of the harder shots in the National Hockey League.
Do you like Modano back at the point in the power play, or would you prefer to see him up front going towards the front of the goal?
Paul, I'll tell you what, I've never been big on having a forward back on the blue line, but when you've got a forward like Modano that can shoot the puck the way that he can, just get the puck back to him and let him blast away. He's got a shot like Al McInnes does from the blue line, so take advantage of it.
You don't think he'd be better served working the puck around down low for you?
He can get that shot, that big booming shot away far more times from the blue line.
Icing called on Dallas here in the power play. 1:38 to go in the Dallas man advantage. The Stars trailing 4-1 with 13:46 to go in the third period as we close down the form in Montreal.
Now Ken Hitchcock has seen his team pick it up in this third period. Not the first couple of shifts they didn't, but they've been on a roll right now.
Ken has never coached a game in this building as a head coach. He was here with as an assistant, with the Philadelphia Flyers. Packed to the rafters tonight. Reports of scalpers getting $200, $300, even $400 per seat. Pushed up, Harvey coming up after it. Gilchrist back to Hatcher, over to Sador. Fedek to Harvey. 1:19 to go on the power play. Harvey lost his balance and the puck. And Bureau gets it down the ice for Montreal. He'll hustle to the bench. Mario Tremblay getting out a fresh set of penalty killers.
Sador goes back to pick it up. He's playing in his 213th consecutive game tonight. He's going to be a good player for a lot of years to come for the Stars.
This is Gilchrist to Modano, back to Sador, gets it across to Hatcher, and Koivu buzzing around him. Harvey up back in the net, trying to work it to Modano. Sador shooting. Popovic couldn't rim it out. Koivu hacks at it, but the Stars keep it in. Harvey had it poked away from him. Raczynski after it, had Koivu with him, and that is broken up. Sador up to Hatcher. 24 seconds left in the Stars power play. Popovic had company there from Nieuwendyk, but he got it out. Modano comes in, Lettinen with him. Lettinen up to the corner. Puck bounces up ahead. Here come the Canadiens shorthanded. Danfus is stopped by Moog. Point blank.
Canadiens love to challenge. Mentioned earlier in the game how the Canadiens love to challenge when they're shorthanded. Fourth most shorthanded goals in the league this year. Vinny Danfus let off a great shot. Andy Moog was able to stop that one. Actually, the Canadiens had just become even because Kovalenko came out of the penalty box.
Here's Turgeon. Whirls around, centers it in front. Recchi couldn't get a hold of it. Recchi, Kovalenko, and Turgeon pestering away up there for Montreal. Quintal back after it. Icing called on the Stars. 11:44 to go in the third period. Canadiens up 4-1.
And we take a look at the scoring chances in the game thus far. Montreal with a slight edge. That big edge, though, for them came in the second period. Outchanced the Stars, 8-4.
Shots on goal, 25-17 in favor of Montreal. Canadiens in the traditional red, white, and blue to close out this chapter of Canadiens history. And there's a man who wore the red, white, and blue for many years, Guy Lapointe. One of the famed big three on the blue line for Montreal back in the 70s, those great teams. Larry Robinson and Serge Savard, two more dominating defensemen.
6 Stanley Cups. When you go through some of these legends, the number of Stanley Cup rings that they owned is just miraculous. Yvon Cornway behind the bench, along with Mario Tremblay with his 10. I can't every finger.
I mean, Henri Richard with 11 of them. He could have one on every digit and then get a nose ring to put the extra one in. 11 Stanley Cups. Matvechuk hammered by Kovalenko. Was he decked? And Matvechuk, a big player to move, too. Turgeon coming back out for Montreal. Recchi up to join him. Swoops in. Recchi looking around in front. Kovalenko takes it. Ricocheted off of Gilchrist's skate. And Fedek banks it out. Quintal just flips it in for Montreal and heads to the bench. This is Matvechuk for Dallas. Played 9 minutes of this third period. Ludwig has it. Wood trying to come up. Stevenson breaks it up there for the Canadiens.
Canadiens know they've got plenty of goals to win right here. They've got to make sure that that third man is back. But Mario Tremblay's not a coach that wants to have his team holding back. He likes them to go, go, go.
Here comes Benoit Hogan. He has Modano and Lettinen up there with him, but the pass doesn't get through. Popovic clears it. Here's Hogue. Shoots! T-ball kicks that one aside. Here's Hogue again. Tried to center it in front. Hatcher was parked there right in front of Thibault, but couldn't get his stick on the pass.
Koivu just sends the puck down the ice. He'll take the icing just to get the pressure off and the opportunity to get a line change.
Here's Wilkie. Wilkie all the way up to Kovalenko. Got away from him. Darian Hatcher clears it into Montreal territory.
Must be a big thrill for David Wilkie to be playing here tonight.
Puck knocked down, comes to the side. Carbonneau with a shot. That was stopped. And Bure starting back for Montreal. Carbonneau breaks it up. Sidor. Up to Carbonneau. Fedek comes to the line with him, takes the drop pass. Fedek blocked by Quintal. And Quintal up to Turgeon. On the way up there with Recchi. Here comes Turgeon. Recchi and Kovalenko both up there. Recchi with it now. And Modano starting back the other way for Dallas. Modano up there with Matvechuk and Lettinen. And broken up by Patrice Brisebois.
I say that about Wilkie because Wilkie didn't play on Saturday night against Ottawa and probably figured because Robert Dirk was back that he'd be scratched again tonight. He got the chance to play.
Oh, I think a lot of players who've had to come in here wearing opposition jerseys would argue that there's definitely something there.
A great leader for the Montreal Canadiens, Bob Gainey, who just got a thunderous, very long ovation yesterday during the introductions of the legends.
And he described it as a very touching moment.
Wasn't far off of the ovation they gave to Guy Lafleur.
One time, Bob Gainey was referred to by Victor Tikhonov as the greatest hockey player in the world. Here comes Modano. And that one's tipped up over the glass. Did you coach Gainey in Peterborough?
No, he was gone before I got there. Arthur Nielsen had coached him. That team had Bob Gainey, Doug Jarvis, Colin Campbell, that's the coach of the New York Rangers. Dallas Stars have got another game on the road before they finally get to go home.
6 of the next 7 away from the friendly confines.
It really makes tough sledding for Dallas, and so they needed to have a good game in here tonight. As I mentioned earlier, they'd had 4 of their last games. They've won them on the road.
Dallas undefeated in 7 heading into this one, the team's longest winning streak in a long time. And they have not won 8 in a row, pardon me, gone undefeated in 8 since 1983-84.
Not looking good for them here tonight.
The chips are stacked against him now. Tricky bounce. Thibault can't cover it up either. Wyshynski. Around to Brisebois. Less than 7.5 minutes to go.
And Paul, it's one of those games in hand that they have tonight on other teams that they're battling for a playoff spot with. But as I pointed out, games in hand only mean anything if you win them.
Here's Danfus. Has Wyshynski with him. Bure is out there as well for Montreal. Hatcher sends it around to Marshall. Trying to hold off Bure. Here's Malakoff. Shoots. Rebound pops out there and is steered down the ice by Marshall. And ice call on Dallas. 6:46 to go in the third.
Andy Moog was down, and when that puck was going all the way down the ice for the icing, he took the opportunity to stay down and catch his win. He may be a tired man right now. They're going to probably have to go to Wakaluk to give Moog an opportunity to get a rest. But as all great athletes, they won't like that notion the least bit, and Andy is one of those good athletes.
He has enjoyed some stellar moments in his career in this building. As a matter of fact, the first memory most hockey fans have of Andy Moog, the 1981 Stanley Cup playoffs when he played for Edmonton and helped the Oilers sweep Montreal out in the first round, 3 games straight. 2 of those wins coming here in the Forum.
He was brilliant.
Moog leaves it there for Hatcher. Here comes Hatcher. Tried to feed Gilchrist there at the line. Turgeon and Kovalenko. Darian Hatcher battling there. Offside called on Montreal.
Well, you know what I found interesting yesterday during the Legends game? During the introduction, for the great players in the National Hockey League from the past that were not part of the Montreal Canadiens, players like Lanny McDonald and Darryl Sittler in particular, watching them as they were standing on the blue line during the thunderous ovations given to the former Montreal Canadian players, and you could see the emotion in their faces. I thought Darryl Sittler was going to have tears coming down his cheek, because all great players in the National Hockey League, all players in the NHL, realize that this has been just one fantastic organization, and this building has meant so much to all of them, even though you had some less memorable nights in this building.
Here comes Koivu. Up there with Stevenson. Koivu shoots. Stevenson with the rebound. Moog steering that one away. Koivu. Savage is in front. Here's Stevenson. To Koivu. And Matvichuk starting back. Up to Fedek. He clears it up. Wilkie gets all jammed up back there. Puck pops loose. Went right by Fedek. Here come the Canadiens. Stevenson with those strides, and the legs just couldn't carry him. The heart was willing, the legs couldn't quite do it. He was at the end of a shift, and he'll head back to the bench now as Wyshynski carries it in. He cuts across, gets bumped there by Hatcher. Bure cutting through. He's up there on top of it. Bure cuts around, and Moog Right down there to close that side door.
Murray's been flying out there tonight. And playing with Damphousse and Ruchinski, they really read off of each other well. Murray knows that he heads for the net. He also is very good at reading the play. When Ruchinski's got the puck, he goes to the open ice. I like the combination with those three players because they do read off of each other so well. They've got good offensive abilities. Been a good line for Mario Tremblay.
Gary, I just want to get back to that point you brought up about the emotion on the face of the old-timers. I talked to an older gentleman this morning who was at that game yesterday, and he said he was very emotional. He had a hard time holding back the tears, and I said, well, why is it? And he said the biggest reason I felt as though my life was being reviewed. All those players coming out, some you cheered for as a young boy, some you cheered for as a young man, and some you cheered for as an older man. And it's like going back through your life and all the memories just come flooding back. Very emotional for a lot of sports fans in a moment like that.
And you tend to remember the great moments.
Here comes Damphousse. Tight ropes along the blue line. Gets it down to the corner. Bure up there after it. Knocked loose. Ruchinski in front. Oh, great save. Rebound cleared away by Hatcher, but not out. Brisebois. He'll pound it up there. Damphousse. Knocked down by Nieuwendyk. He hit him hard. Here's Hogue.
Damphousse has got a bad back, too. He can't take checks like that.
Darian Hatcher comes up. Hatcher bumped by Popovic. Dallas on a change there, so they couldn't mount any pressure. And now Montreal will change him up. And two-line pass there called on Dallas. This has to be a big thrill for Vincent Damphousse. Coming in to play this game, wearing the red, white, blue for the Canadiens. You know that's a thrill for him, but to be here in the Forum for this final game, it's something he'll think about for years.
Came here as a kid to see a game. The first time I came here was midget AAA. There was an all-star game here, and I was lucky enough to be part of that. And that was my first time I stepped on the ice and actually came in the Forum.
Do you remember the first time you stepped behind the bench to coach here?
Yeah, I do, Paul. But it wasn't pretty, believe me.
No, I didn't bring it up for that reason.
Yeah, you did.
Here's Modano, shoots one, that gets deflected up into the stands.
But I had some real class characters like Ryan Walter, Mike Gartner, and Rick Graydon along with me to endure the evening.
Story tonight, Kovalenko, Turgeon, Recchi, 7 scoring points between them. And Dallas will not pick up, by the looks of it, win number 10 here at the Forum. And Modano 1 point away from 500 on his career. Tonight's game story brought to you by CIL. CIL Golf Green keeps your lawn greener longer. Or is that longer and greener? Greener or longer. Does a good job for the old lawn.
I don't do lawns. At least not willingly.
Turgeon steals it.
Bad giveaway by Matt Tkachuk.
Turgeon up after it.
We've heard this song in this building before.
You may hear it at the new building too. I have that feeling, but kind of poignant tonight. Goodbye to Dallas and goodbye to this building. And as I mentioned earlier, despite the many people saying, yeah, it's kind of a sad night, saying goodbye to the building, here's Carbonneau up to Heward moving in. Heward centers it in front, comes around, chips it on, Thibault the save. Now Hatcher's up there. He comes around, Hatcher looking for a bit of help. Dallas trying to get some offense going. Marshall's back there in front. Carbonneau couldn't jam it home. Ludwig at the line. Despite the fact that there is some sadness, for the most part, you get the feeling that a huge celebration is about to break loose. a very festive party-like atmosphere around the Forum today. So stick around, because we're going to stick around for the party, and you'll have a great seat as we go back through the years in the great history of this building. Here comes Modano. Knifed it up, but picked off. Brisebois leading the rush in. Couldn't get it over to Koivu. Just under 18,000 packed in here tonight. Offside called on Dallas.
The young fans and the old fans in this building tonight.
And they'll all be sticking around for the celebration afterwards. So will we. Dave Hodge is here. And there's a guy who has spent many, many nights at the Forum. To get Dave to talk about his most memorable night when he's seen so many games. An interesting point he brought up to me beforehand was that he didn't get to watch a lot of the games because he was busy working. And he'll be busy working after this one.
Well, there's obviously mixed emotions, but these fans realize in order to keep the Montreal Canadiens here in this city in this very trying age of economics in the National Hockey League, they've got to get into a new building, more revenues, and obviously a more comfortable facilities as well. And it will be.
Sidor shoots it up there. Tipped wide, bounces in front. Puck bouncing crazily. And into the corner. Zipped across there. Fedek almost got his stick on it. Rachinski was lurking up there in the right wing, but they couldn't get it to him. Brisebois has it. About 1:15 to go. Time ticking down. 1:09 left. Montreal leading 4-1.
And probably very fitting that the Montreal Canadiens would win their last game here at the Forum.
They won the first one. You go all the way back to November the 29th, 1924. Montreal defeated the Toronto St. Pats 7-1.
Mario Tremblay's done a good job at keeping his players' attention, their focus in preparing for the most important thing for them tonight, and that was this hockey game. They needed the points. They were in a great playoff battle. The Boston Bruins are right on their doorstep.
Less than a minute to go. This is how it'll end. They're on their feet. So long.
Many people here tonight, it's probably very difficult for them to accept the fact that it's over.
Montreal wins the game 4-1, but heck, stick around, the party's just starting.
Vos hôtes pour la soirée comptent parmi les plus grands de leur profession. They've described hundreds of games and taken part in many of the greatest moments in the history of the Forum and of hockey. Mesdames, Messieurs, Richard Garneau et Dick Irvin.
Bonsoir, mesdames, messieurs. C'est évidemment un grand honneur pour nous d'être ici ce soir.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. We are very proud to be with you here in this position tonight.
Il y a de ces édifices qui semblent embellis par les années qui passent. Parfois, c'est l'architecture, parfois, c'est la pierre qui défie le temps.
The Montreal Forum may be brick and mortar, but its fame was built with pride. The pride of the men, the Hall of Famers you'll meet tonight, and the teams who won and lost here, and who made this building one of the most famous buildings in the world of sport, all the way from Moscow to Los Angeles.
Le Forum de Montréal a été complété à l'automne de 1924. Le sénateur Donna Raymond et son adjoint, William Northey, l'avaient fait construire pour leur nouvelle équipe de la Ligue nationale, les Maroons de Montréal.
In that era, the Canadiens played their games at the Mount Royal Arena, also known as the All Montreal, while the Maroons played here at the Forum. But because the freezer system to create artificial ice at the Mount Royal was not yet working, it was at the Forum that the Canadiens played their first game of the 1924-25 season.
C'était le 29 novembre 1924. C'était également le premier match de hockey disputé au tout nouveau Forum. 2 ans plus tard, le Canadien s'installait au Forum qu'il allait partager avec les Maroons jusqu'en 1938.
When it was first built, the Forum had only 9,300 seats. In 1949, the seating capacity of the building was increased to 13,551. In 1968, the funds were raised to completely renovate the Forum, creating the building that would, for decades, be one of the most beautiful hockey temples in the world.
La légende du Forum, ce ne sont ni les briques, ni l'acier. La grandeur du Forum, c'est la sueur des athlètes qui a servi à préparer le mortier. C'est le feu du désir de la victoire qu'on retrouve dans l'acier des fondations. Ce qui a fait le Forum, ce sont les exploits de tous ces véritables bâtisseurs, les dirigeants et les joueurs du Canadien. Ces grands bâtisseurs, ils sont 50 à avoir été élus au temple de la renommée du hockey. Certains sont décédés.
Leo Dangeron, owner of the Canadiens in the 1920s and 30s, and his partner, Joe Katranich.
Tommy Gorman, le sénateur M. Donna Raymond, bâtisseur du Forum, et son adjoint William Northey, ainsi que M. J. Ambrose O'Brien, tout premier propriétaire en 1909, et un des grands directeurs généraux de son époque, M. Frank Selke.
Toe Blake, a great coach, left wing on the famed punchline. Sprague Cleghorn, Bill Durnan, the legendary ambidextrous goaltender of the 40s. Herb Gardner, George Hainsworth, another legendary goaltender. And Joe Hall, who died during the Stanley Cup Finals of 1919 because of the Spanish influenza.
Un des plus grands de tous les temps, Doug Harvey. Aurel Joliat, célèbre pour sa vitesse et sa casquette. Newsy Lalonde, joueur capitaine et entraîneur. Jack Laviolette, Joe Malone, détenteur du record de 44 buts en 20 matchs. Silvio Monta, le grand Howie Morans, le numéro 7.
Buddy O'Connor of the Razzle Dazzle line and Didier Pete. Jacques Plante, the man who revolutionized the art of goaltending. Earl Siebert, and finally, Georges Vezina.
Trois membres du Temple de la Renommée qui sont encore vivants n'ont pu se joindre à la fête. Bert Olmsted, retenu pour des raisons personnelles. Bernard Boum Boum Geoffrion, qui avait déjà des engagements à remplir. Il sera de la fête samedi au Centre Molson. Et Larry Robinson, qui a dû se désister à la dernière minute. Mesdames, Messieurs, voici maintenant les bâtisseurs.
He was and is still one of the greatest coaches in the history of hockey, William Scott "Scotty" Bowman.
Il fut le plus influent des directeurs généraux du hockey, Sam Pollock.
He is a true gentleman and a true man of hockey. The former owner and president of the Montreal Canadiens, the Honorable Hartland Molson.
Non seulement ils ont été de grands bâtisseurs dans l'histoire du Canadien, mais ils ont également été impliqués dans les grandes équipes nationales au sein de Hockey Canada.
Gentlemen, we thank you for what you did for the Montreal Canadiens, for the Forum, and for the great national sport of hockey.
Merci messieurs, et maintenant les joueurs.
A member of the Big Three, a prankster known as Pointu, to his often amused teammates, a member of the first All-Star team in 1972-73, the second All-Star team 3 times. He had a terrific shot. He once scored 28 goals in a single season. He won 6 Stanley Cups with the Canadiens and was elected to the Hall of Fame in 1993. Number 5, Guy Lapointe.
Reconnu pour son sens de l'humour, il se décrivait lui-même comme un grand finisseur de jeu à cause de son habileté extraordinaire à transformer en but les retours de lancer de ses coéquipiers. Il est le leader dans l'histoire du Canadien pour les buts et les passes chez les ailiers gauches avec 408 buts et 368 assistances. Il a remporté 5 Coupes Stanley. Élu au Temple de la Renommée en 1993, il est aujourd'hui entraîneur adjoint avec le Canadien, le numéro 22, Steve Shutt.
The famous Russian coach Viktor Tikhonov said of him that when it came to technique, he was the best hockey player in the world. He rewrote the job description for a defensive forward, a strong, inspirational leader who helped win 5 Stanley Cups. He won the Frank Selke Trophy 4 times, and the Smythe Trophy as the most valuable player in the 1979 playoffs. Elected to the Hall of Fame in 1992. In France, they called him Monsieur Bob, but his teammates preferred to call him Bo. Number 23, Bob Gainey.
Pour les uns, il était le démon blond. Pour d'autres, Flower. Il fut la plus grande vedette du hockey dans les années 70. Premier joueur à connaître 6 saisons de 50 buts et plus, membre de la première équipe d'étoiles 6 ans de suite, il mérite le trophée Art Ross, remis au premier compteur dans la Ligue 3 ans de suite. Joueur le plus utile, gagnant du trophée Hart 2 années consécutives, gagnant du trophée Smythe, il a réécrit le livre des records du Canadien. C'était un joueur fascinant, capable des plus grands exploits dans les situations les plus difficiles. Un homme et un joueur de passion qui n'a jamais laissé personne indifférent. Gagnant de 5 Coupes Stanley, élu au Temple de la Renommée en 1988, le numéro 10, Guy Lafleur.
Winner of the Calder Trophy as Rookie of the Year, the Norris Trophy as the best defenseman, elected 4 times to the All-Star team. He played on 6 Stanley Cup champions in the 60s and the 70s. He has been an assistant coach with the Canadiens since 1981, elected to the Hall of Fame in 1987. Number 2, Jacques Laperrière.
Dès sa première saison, il remporta la Coupe Stanley avec le Canadien. Puis l'année suivante, il rafle le trophée Smythe, remis au meilleur joueur des séries. Il fut le 3e membre du Big Three, le défenseur calme et fiable qui prenait soin du territoire du Canadien quand Larry et Pointu se lançaient à l'attaque. Il subit 2 fractures aux jambes et revient en force pour continuer à être un joueur dominant avec le Canadien. Il a remporté 8 Coupes Stanley comme joueur. Célèbre pour sa pirouette et son penchant pour la politique, on le surnommait le sénateur. Il était de l'aventure de la série du siècle en 1972 et après être devenu directeur général du Canadien en avril 83, il ajoutera 2 autres Coupes Stanley à son palmarès. Élu au Temple de la Renommée en 1986, le numéro 18, Serge Savard.
His teammates called him Coco. He was a quick and smart player, equipped with a great slap shot. A fierce competitor, he's twice scored Stanley Cup winning goals for the Canadiens. When he centered Guy Lafleur and Steve Shutt, he coached the Canadiens for 2 years, won 8 Stanley Cups here, and now coaches the Stanley Cup champion New Jersey Devils. He was elected to the Hall of Fame in 1984. Number 25, Jacques Lemaire.
Jamais un gardien de but n'aura remporté autant d'honneurs en si peu de saisons. Gagnant du trophée Calder, gagnant du trophée Conn Smythe, il a remporté 80 victoires en 112 matchs de séries éliminatoires, dont 10 par jeu blanc, 5 fois le trophée Vézina, 6 Coupes Stanley en 8 saisons. Et à sa retraite, il est devenu un écrivain respecté et un citoyen engagé. Il a été élu au Temple de la Renommée en 1983, l'ancien numéro 29, Ken Dryden.
From the day he arrived in the National Hockey League, he was known as the Big M. He won the Calder Trophy and came to Montreal in 1971, just in time to help the Canadiens defeat Bobby Orr and the Bruins in the playoffs en route to their miracle Stanley Cup. A great left winger, he was elected to the Hockey Hall of Fame in 1981. Number 27, Frank Mahovlich.
Cet ailier droit avait une telle fougue qu'une équipe professionnelle de Montréal porte son nom, le Road Runner. Il a été un des grands capitaines de l'équipe. Il a marqué 25 buts ou plus au cours de 12 saisons consécutives. Il a remporté le trophée Smythe, mais resta toute sa carrière le modèle du joueur d'équipe. Il fait partie d'un club très sélect dans le sport professionnel. Il a gagné 10 Coupes Stanley et a été élu au Temple de la Renommée en 1981, le numéro 12, Yvan Cournoyer.
Everybody called him the Gumper, one of those great goaltenders who played the game so long without a mask until his last season in 1974. Arriving here in 1964, he won 4 Stanley Cups and 2 Vezina trophies. More than 20 years after his retirement, Gump keeps his smile and his love of hockey. Elected to the Hockey Hall of Fame in 1980, a native Montrealer and one of the game's true characters, number 30, Lord Gump Worsley.
C'est le recordman de tous les temps. 11 Coupes Stanley. On peut parier n'importe quoi qu'aucun joueur ne pourra égaler cette marque incroyable. Il a joué pendant 20 saisons avec le Canadien et a reçu le trophée Bill Masterton pour souligner son apport personnel au hockey. Il a permis aux Canadiens de remporter la Coupe Stanley de 1971-72 en marquant le but égalisateur et le but vainqueur dans le dernier match. Il n'était pas très grand ni très gros, mais il avait un cœur de lion. Élu au Temple de la Renommée en 1979, le numéro 16, Henri Richard.
He was the NHL scoring champion in 1958 and 1959, a member of the first All-Star team those same years. A terrific competitor on a great line with the brothers Maurice and Henri Richard. He took part in the winning of 6 Stanley Cups, including 5 straight with that great team of the 1950s. He was elected to the Hall of Fame in 1974. He's a Montrealer, number 12, Richard Dickie Moore.
Surnommé le Gros Bill, il demeure encore aujourd'hui le modèle à suivre pour tous les capitaines de l'équipe. Il porta d'ailleurs le C pendant 10 saisons. Il mérita le trophée Art Ross et le trophée Smythe et participa à la conquête de 10 Coupes Stanley. Après sa retraite, il fut un vice-président dévoué et très actif pour le Canadien et sa fondation a permis à des milliers de jeunes d'améliorer leur sort. Membre du Temple de la Renommée depuis 1972, le numéro 4, Jean Béliveau.
This very capable defenseman played 13 years for the Canadiens on a defense that included greats like Butch Bouchard and Doug Harvey. He also won the Norris Trophy and earned a spot on the first All-Star team in 1958-59. He was a reliable player in defense. He rarely missed a shift or a game in his 6 Stanley Cup winning years. Elected to the Hall of Fame in 1970, number 10, Tom Johnson. He was a tough defenseman on the ice and a defender of his country, a decorated one, who spent 3 years in the armed forces during the Second World War. He won 1 Stanley Cup, was twice a member of the first All-Star team. Elected to the Hall of Fame in 1966, number 17, Kenny Reardon.
Il était le centre de la punchline avec Toe Blake et Maurice Richard. Il remporta 2 championnats des compteurs et a été nommé membre de la première équipe d'étoiles à 3 reprises, membre de la deuxième équipe en 2 autres occasions. Joueur rusé et agressif, il a aussi remporté la Coupe Stanley en 3 occasions et les photos rappelant ses exploits ont longtemps orné les murs du Forum. Élu au Temple de la Renommée en 1966, le numéro 16, Elmer Locke.
He wore the number 3 before passing it on to J.C. Tremblay. He was the much-respected captain of the Canadiens for 9 seasons during a career which lasted 15 years. He was named 3 times to the first All-Star team, helped win 4 Stanley Cups with his powerful checks, his size, and his strength. He was a giant of a man on and off the ice who was named to the Hall of Fame in 1966. Ladies and gentlemen, number 3, Émile Butch Bouchard.
Et maintenant, Monsieur Hockey, nommé 14 fois au sein des 2 équipes d'étoiles de la Ligue nationale, vainqueur du trophée Hart. Il mérita la Coupe Stanley en 8 occasions. Premier marqueur de 50 buts dans l'histoire de la Ligue nationale, il fut le symbole de tout un peuple qui se reconnaissait dans ses exploits et sa personnalité. En 2 occasions, il marqua 5 buts dans un match et reçut même les 3 étoiles lors d'un match. D'autres joueurs ont fini par marquer plus de buts que le Rocket, mais jamais personne ne les marqua comme lui. Capitaine du Canadien, leader incontesté de l'équipe, élu au Temple de la Renommée en 1961, la plus grande légende de l'histoire du hockey, le numéro 9, Maurice Rocket Richard. Mesdames et messieurs, vous avez devant vous le cœur et l'âme du Forum.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Montreal Canadiens Hall of Famers.
Merci infiniment. Tout d'abord, merci. Permettez-moi de rendre hommage au regretté Danny Gallivan. Nous avons travaillé ensemble pendant plus de 30 ans. Lui en anglais, moi en français. I'm sure the incomparable Danny Gallivan is here in spirit tonight. And if he could, he would tell you about our distinguished guest, a man who made many a scintillating save, some of them right here in the Montreal Forum. Le hockey, c'est plus que la Ligue nationale, comme vous le savez. Ce sont les grandes équipes européennes, soviétiques. Le hockey, ce sont les matchs qui ont opposé les meilleurs au monde, désireux de se mesurer. Et en septembre 1972, ici même au Forum de Montréal, on a été témoin de la plus extraordinaire série jamais présentée. La série du siècle, comme on l'appelait, opposant le Canada à l'Union soviétique. Notre invité symbolise à lui seul ces décennies de grands événements. Le plus célèbre de tous les gardiens de but dans l'histoire de l'équipe soviétique, Vladislav Tretiak.
Merci, messieurs. Mesdames et messieurs, le Canadien de Montréal, c'est la tradition. De génération en génération, de grands joueurs de hockey ont formé de grandes équipes qui ont remporté la Coupe Stanley à leur tour.
In the Canadiens' locker room, there is one phrase that sums up the entire history of the Montreal Canadiens.
Le plus ancien capitaine du Canadien encore vivant, M. Émile Bouchard, se trouve maintenant dans le vestiaire de son équipe. Sur le mur, il peut lire la devise qui l'a inspiré à son époque. Nos bras meurtris vous tendent le flambeau, à vous toujours de le porter très haut.
To you from failing hands, we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high.
Depuis les tout premiers Jeux olympiques, la flamme sacrée a été le symbole du sport et du dépassement de soi.
Emile Bouchard will now join all of the Canadiens captains with us tonight, and they will pass the torch down the line of captains to the current Canadiens captain and the current Canadiens team.
Que le flambeau passe de capitaine en capitaine jusqu'à aujourd'hui. De Jean Béliveau à Henri Richard. De Henri Richard à Yvan Cournoyer. D'Yvan Cournoyer à Serge Savard. De Serge Savard à Bob Gainey. De Bob Gainey à Guy Carbonneau. Capitaine actuel des Canadiens, Pierre Turgeon. L'ancien président du Canadien a déjà dit que cette légendaire équipe appartenait en réalité à tous ses partisans. Nous tenons à vous remercier pour votre loyauté et votre enthousiasme.
It is you, the fans, whose enthusiasm and support has inspired the players and the management of this proud organization to always aim higher.
Vous avez fait vibrer le forum. Nous vous donnons rendez-vous samedi soir pour faire vibrer le centre Molson.
Forever proud.
La fierté pour toujours. Merci.
Thank you, everybody, and good night.
Et à samedi.